as far as Sajal's concerned, she was, I didn't know either of them very well before the thing. It's not like we knew each other very well. She was, extremely helpful, extremely kind to me. First day where I was meeting everybody and Assalamu alaikum, Azaan, all of that. I went, Assalamu alaikum. That's it. No, that's it. Comment section, please talk about it. If I was in a red sequin underwear. How would you guys feel about it?
I mean, how does one come up with the Azaan Sami Khan after all this turbulence?
Honestly speaking, there were ups and downs. There were dark moments, but as they say, you only value the light when you have had the dark, right? I want to work with good artists.
You want to work with good? Yeah, that's the way to go. That's the way to go.
Whether that's in India, whether that's anywhere.
Bilkul sahi hai.
I think that's whether if I'm composing or singing, I would love to work with good directors. So actually, this is Azaan Sami Khan, and if you want to watch this interview, please check out Something Hot. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.
Azaan Sami Khan, welcome to the show. I'm going to dive straight into it. Ishq khatam ho raha hai, and it's been a long journey. It's been a very interesting journey for you, और जो हम देखते रहे हैं, of course, हमारा ऐसे fluctuate करता रहा है. आप क्या कहेंगे? Would it be wrong for me to think that मुश्किल था या ये आसान था सफर इश्क का?
पहले तो I wanted to thank you कि आपने मुझे अपने शो पे बुलाया और इस लायक समझा कि मैं आऊँ.
हम बड़ी देर से इकट्ठा होना चाह रहे थे, इतनी ऐसी बात नहीं है.
I've obviously I have immense respect for you and I'm grateful कि आपने आज मुझे बुलाया. So firstly, thank you. People have sat here that I have immense respect for.
जी.
And it's an honor to firstly be there. Secondly, इश्क का जो सफर रहा है वो मेरे लिए कई सारे इमोशंस को गुजरते हुए मैं आज यहाँ आया हूँ. उसमें कुछ बहुत अच्छे हैं, कुछ ऐसे हैं जिससे मुझे सीखने को बहुत मिला. तो मैं ये जरूर कह सकता हूँ कि आज जो मैं इश्क से पहले इंसान था और आज जो हूँ वो इश्क की वजह से कुछ तब्दीलियां आई हैं, अजलान की वजह से कुछ तब्दीलियां आई हैं. एंड मुझे लगता है कि जिस तरह मैं बाकी एक्टर से बात करता हूँ तो वो मुझे हमेशा कहते हैं कि उनका जो पहला किरदार होता है वो हमेशा उनकी जिंदगी में एक लंबा और अहम असर प्ले करता है. सो रोल प्ले करता है. सो आई फील अजलान इज दैट फॉर मी फॉर श्योर. इश्क ऑब्वियसली बीइंग माय फर्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट, उसमें पहला प्रोजेक्ट कोई भी, अगर मैं अपनी म्यूजिक की जर्नी की बात करूं तो उसमें भी जो मेरा पहला प्रोजेक्ट था उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें थी जो मुझे अपने में मिली. Many things that I didn't know about the craft itself. Obviously you're very new, but it's just it allowed me to figure myself out more than anything, figure out my insecurities and what I'm comfortable with, not comfortable with. मैंने अपने काफी सारे जो beliefs थे उनको question किया कि अच्छा ये इस लड़के को तो ये लगता है, मुझे कुछ और लगता है, सही क्या है. और वो बाद में वो खुद से काफी सारे डिस्कशंस हुए. और आई थिंक आज मैं जहाँ पहुंचा हूँ अपने सेल्फ आई गेस डिस्कवरी कह लें या ग्रोथ में, वो इश्क का और अजलान का इसमें बड़ा हाथ है.
बात है. अजान, इतना सक्सेसफुल आपके म्यूजिक करियर चल रहा था एंड मैं तो कहूँगी you're a gifted musician, just like your dad. उनके भी अंदर एक गिफ्टेड म्यूजिशियन की क्वालिटीज हैं, आप में भी वो है. बेशक अगर आप कंपोज कर रहे हैं या आप लिख रहे हैं या आप गा रहे हैं, you've done some magnificent soundtracks. परवाज़ जुनून को ले लें या सुपरस्टार को ले लें, परे हट लव को ले लें, आपने दम अस्तम के लिए भी कंपोज किया. तो आपको क्यों ऐसा लगा कि मुझे एक्टिंग की तरफ जाना है? ये आपका पहला ड्रामा है इश्क, और इससे पहले हम सुन रहे थे कि आप एक फिल्म की भी आपने साइन अप की हुई थी, पटख दे, हानिया आमिर के साथ. उसके बारे में भी बात करेंगे कि उसका क्या हुआ और वो हो रही है कि नहीं हो रही. मगर आपके अंदर क्या एक ख्याल आया कि मुझे अदाकारी की तरफ जाना है? Is it just a young thing or is it...
What's a young thing?
A young and restless thing that I have to do it all, yeah.
Do it all.
I have to do it all.
The world.
Because आसान नहीं है, right? आप as a musician, most of all, आप कैमरे के पीछे हैं. और जब आप एक्टर होते हैं तो immediately you're in front of the camera. आपने एक physical transformation भी अपनी की है over the years. And I'm thinking it was prepping for yourself to be in front of the camera.
Not so कई सवाल हैं,
बहुत
बहुत सारे सवाल हैं, तो
बहुत फायर कर दिए मैंने आप
फायर कर दिए, मैं उनको एक एक करके
जी
थोड़ा सा असम्बल करता हूँ. I think the first one would be कि ये firstly thank you, आपको मेरा म्यूजिक पसंद आया. That is something which even now मैं अगर कहीं देखता हूँ कि कोई मेरा कोई गाना सुन रहा है, मुझे अभी भी यकीन नहीं आता, क्योंकि वो मेरे लिए एक बहुत पर्सनल मोमेंट था जहां मेरा कहीं दिल टूटा और मैं कोई गाना बनाया मैंने, और मैंने अपने लिए बना के रख लिया कि वो कोई और भी सुन रहा है, वो कोई और किसी और भी अच्छा लग रहा है. अभी हमारे पास वो स्ट्रीमिंग एप्स होती हैं जिसमें लिखा आता है लाइव कौन सुन रहा है इस वक्त आपका गाना. लाइक लिटरली आता है कि these many people are listening right now. मैं देख के तो ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, मतलब मेरा गाना किसने दिया इनको. फिर मुझे एहसास होता है कि अच्छा नहीं, ये तो रिलीज हुआ है. एंड but it's still a very strange feeling because I have never made music from a standpoint of this is going to be, you know, on the charts and it's always been कि ये बनाया है, 4 लोगों को प्ले किया, उन्होंने बोला हाँ यार ये अच्छा है, तुम्हें निकालना चाहिए. फिर डर के, और कोई कभी कभार मुझसे खींचा गया गाना कि बस और काम नहीं हो सकता इसमें, दे दो. So firstly music has been like that for me, और वही approach I brought to acting. As far as why acting and why not just stay in music, I think, as I said before, I don't plan things too much.
Right.
I do believe that when age is on your side, you should experiment to figure out where your strengths and weaknesses lie. The only difference is that being a child of the industry, you know about me experimenting. You can see me experimenting. Someone who maybe isn't in front of the public in that manner, but the only way I can do it is by doing it. That's the only way to know that whether acting is for me or not, whether music is for me or not, whether screenwriting is for me or not, वो मुझे तभी पता चलेगा जब मैं करूँगा. अब fortunately unfortunately करने में ये ऑडियंस की नजर में आता है, जहाँ एक नजरिया आता है कि ये दोनों चीजें क्यों कर रहा है, 3 चीजें क्यों कर रहा है.
बिल्कुल.
क्या मैं 35-40 पे सारी चीजें एक वक्त पे कर रहा हूँगा? Probably not. लेकिन मैं वो फैसला कायम तभी कर पाऊंगा यकीन से कि यही मेरी जर्नी है, by doing it once or twice.
Right. और आप डरते नहीं हैं? नहीं.
I don't think there is any shame in trying something and failing.
Right.
I'm not insecure that way. I have no fear in not being good at something that I tried at, so that I can in hindsight look back and be like, okay, I tried it, I wasn't good at it.
Right.
Other thing I was better at. I'll just focus on that. But on the lighter side, I always tease my mom and my dad, saying that I was a pig raised for slaughter, right? That जब बकरा ईद का बकरा होता है कि उसको पता होता है एक दिन मंडी जाना है इसमें. So I grew up with that thing कि वो बचपन से एक ही चीज देख रहे हैं. By एक ही चीज I mean the entertainment industry, whether it's my mom at a stage when she's acting, whether it's my father making music, whether it's my father acting, whether it's my mother directing, whether producing, it was all around you, right?
Bilkul.
So there was a divided interest in everything. So by virtue of how things happened, music ended up being the first thing I got into, and everything is very interconnected,
right?
Drastically interconnected. Of course. So that is one aspect.
All the arts are, right?
All of them are, exactly. So when I meet an artist who paints, for instance, right, I find tremendous similarities in the life we lead. The way our just because it is connected. However, it is also not connected. And I have no interest in being a jack of all trades, good at none type of thing. It is just that I am also aware कि मैं अभी 28 साल का हूँ, और मैं ये एक्सपेरिमेंट और ये चीजें कर सकता हूँ just to find where that lies and what people want me to do as well. Like for instance, 4 साल, I think 4-4.5 साल हो गए since परवाज़ जुनून came out. I do have a little bit of a better idea of musically what people want from me. वो मुझे पहले नहीं था. वो कर करके ही हुआ है कि अच्छा यार मैं जब ये करता हूँ तो लोगों को नहीं पसंद, ये पसंद है. अच्छा, not that मैं वो दूसरी चीज नहीं करूँगा, just that you start getting a better hang of things. With acting as well, it's when I saw in a very very shallow brief initial level, when I saw certain parts of Ishq, people disliked what I did. Certain parts they liked what I did.
Right.
So it allows me to be like, okay, how can I further improve the strengths and or somewhat improve them as much as I can. Right. And how can I either negate the weaknesses and not even go on that side, or improve them. But I'm very aware that that is one side. That is one reason of why it is. Then there is the other side, where macroeconomics comes in, where industry dynamics come in.
Yes.
Because of where we stand today, there is a certain where Pakistan lies. I'm a huge advocate and believer in television in Pakistan. I feel that even if I was not acting, I believe the growth of Pakistani music through television itself
is huge.
Can be much bigger than it already is.
Right.
Which is why in Ishq we aim to do 2 OSTs.
बिल्कुल. दोनों ही बहुत खूबसूरत है, may I add.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So that was the reason, because I feel that there is जहाँ हमारा क्या कहते हैं म्यूजिक सुना जाता है, वहाँ आपके ड्रामे का म्यूजिक बाय इंडिपेंडेंट म्यूजिक आई मीन, और ड्रामे का म्यूजिक बहुत ज्यादा सुना जाता है. आपको हर हफ्ते मार्केटिंग मिलती है. So I just feel that to be able to grow that sector,
right,
where I have been entrusted with large film scores and soundtracks, I feel कि अगर उतनी तवज्जो हमारे ड्रामों के म्यूजिक पे दी जाती है, चाहे वो बैकग्राउंड स्कोर के तरीके से हो, चाहे वो गानों के तरीके से हो, there is a huge open door of opportunity lying there,
right.
And I think that is something that interests me. So that is why coming towards the side, also there was also a logic behind कि ये क्यों करना है.
Azaan, you spoke about mixed reviews that your performance got, और हमने भी शुरू में देखा, और we saw a gradual improvement in your performance. अब मैं और हसन भी ये डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि we don't know कि recordings जो हैं वो linear थी, कि शुरू की पहले हुई और बाद में हुई, but there is a marked improvement by the time Azaan gets to where he is today, the last few episodes. आपको लगा was it a comfortable like zone for you when he's understanding himself and he's coming to terms with who he is, his connection with spirituality, with religion, वो थोड़ा अच्छा इंसान बनना शुरू हो गया, a kinder person, a more compassionate person, which I think is closer to who you are. And and you're not that abrasive and rude and person that Azaan is in the first half of the drama. So did you ease into that comfort zone, या आपको लगा कि नहीं आहिस्ता आहिस्ता आपकी परफॉर्मेंस वैसे ही ऑर्गेनिकली बेहतर होती गई, क्या हुआ था?
देखिए, critiquing myself, it's not my place to. So that I wouldn't.
But did you?
No, so I'm just coming to that,
okay,
right? Which is ke, from a basic from a place of practicality, obviously जो काम मैंने कभी पहले किया नहीं था, वो रेगुलरिटी से करने में कंफर्ट जोन तो पैदा हुआ. मुझे पता था कि ये लाइट क्यों लगी हुई है, ये मेरे मुंह पे आ रही है या नहीं आ रही है, कैमरा यहाँ से यहाँ जाएगा, तो मैं the practical side of things, वो obviously comfort बढ़ा.
ठीक है.
जहाँ तक performance की बात है, वो obviously non-linear shoot नहीं होती, तो चीजें आगे पीछे होती.
बिल्कुल.
Maybe my understanding of the character at certain points was different to how it maybe should have been. तो वो मैंने scenes उस तरीके से किए, and maybe the audience expectation was different from that kind of emotion.
Right.
तो उनको लगा कि ये इस तरह नहीं होना चाहिए. All I would say is that जब अज़लान का कैरेक्टर मेरे पास आया, तो मैंने कभी ये नहीं सोचा कि मैं इस तरह का कैरेक्टर और किसने अच्छा प्ले किया है. मेरी प्रोसेस, मेरा क्योंकि it was the first time, so I did not have a process. I don't have a process as an actor. It may take me several projects to have a definitive process. लेकिन मैंने ये जरूर सोचा कि मैं इस तरह के लोगों को अगर जानता हूँ, अच्छा वो लोग कैसे होते हैं, एंड उन पे मैंने मॉडल किया. अब मैं इत्तेफाकन 2-4 लोगों को जानता हूँ इस तरह के. I don't know. So and
are they from the industry?
No, not at all. That won't make sense.
Yeah.
They are from the business
okay,
community and stuff like that, and some are related to me as well, distantly, right?
Okay.
Next social gathering, be careful.
Yeah.
But and those are people, honestly speaking, who one wouldn't want to get to know very well. And I didn't want to. They were among those people who we would not want to interact with.
बिल्कुल.
लेकिन ये जरूर हुआ कि मुझे उनको समझने का मौका मिला. अब उनमें कुछ ट्रेड्स थे जो आई थिंक मे बी ऑडियंसेस को उस तरह से नहीं पता. Like somebody who, for example, has had everything provided to them. I've always found that they're tremendously soft-spoken because they've never had to be loud.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
I see kids today who I believe will end up in the same position as an Azaan is in the future, and they whisper in the drawing room and सारे बड़े खड़े होकर उनके सारे demands पूरे कर रहे होते हैं. So I've always found such people very soft spoken, almost as though you can't hear them. They mumble half the time because उनको शोर
करने की जरूरत ही
नहीं पड़ती,
although your dramas would tell you otherwise.
Absolutely. So I find that again that is another actor's interpretation. I respect it. I think that is must be the case in some ways. मेरा experience फर्क रहा है. I've met these people and I found them very very it's almost understood. They're authoritarian in a manner कि वो कहेंगे टेबल साफ कर लीजिए, क्योंकि उनको ये डाउट ही नहीं है कि आप कभी क्वेश्चन करेंगे कि मैं क्यों साफ करूं, मतलब उन्होंने बोल दिया और आपने so that was my interpretation of such a person. I would like to believe it was an original interpretation, whether good or bad. So that's as far as Azlan's concerned. So sometimes when I found that there was a difference in interpretation of a wealthy successful boy who's grown up and inherited all this, and then not just inherited it, also taken it 10 steps further, become the bread earner of the house, sits at the head of the table. He will also not just have flawed opinions, but have a lot of conviction on them as well, which I believe he does.
He was a bit nasty as well.
Absolutely, but he believes it's right. तो एक होता है कि बच्चा जो अभी अभी पढ़ के आया है और उसको एक्सपीरियंस नहीं, इसके एक्सपीरियंस से the debate of the कई बैंकों के मालिक,
कई बैंकों के मालिक,
exactly. अब the thing is कि that boy believes कि जो मैं करता हूँ वो सही है क्योंकि मेरा ट्रैक रिकॉर्ड दिखाता है कि मैं सक्सेसफुल हूँ, right? So it's affirmed behavior.
नहीं, हम समझ गए थे किरदार को, ऐसी बात नहीं कि हम समझे नहीं थे, हम समझ गए थे किरदार को.
Exactly. So my only thing was that in my head that's how I interpret him. I interpret somebody who will only start becoming illogical and brash and irrational
when he's not getting what he
when life doesn't go according to
his right,
and that's where
and it didn't go.
So for me, Amin sir and I discussed this, Woman of Habib and I discussed this, where it will be unpredictable how he will behave in situations dealing with emotion which he's never dealt with.
Right.
So whether it was her death, whether it was him in other situations, when
father's death, mother's illness,
it was not, because it was not learned behavior, it wasn't from his memory के जब चाचा के साथ ये हुआ था तब मैंने,
ठीक है,
क्योंकि हम यही करते हैं ना, हमें बताया जाता है कि फ्यूनरल पे ऐसे बिहेव करना है तो हम 1 2 3
इंटरनलाइज करें इमोशन को.
पर्सन जिसको सब कुछ मिला है अपने प्लान के मुताबिक, वो तो नहीं, वो इलॉजिकल होगा ना, वो इट्स व्हाट डू यू मीन.
ये तो आपने कैरेक्टर एनालिसिस कर दिया, ये नहीं मैंने कहा था, मैं कहता एक्टिंग एनालिसिस करें.
I'm trying to explain what my interpretation was. I understand. My interpretation of him was like this. Whether my capabilities and my skill set could translate that, that is my flaw against the interpretation I made.
Right.
उसमें मुझे मेहनत करने की.
I think you got a lot of mixed reviews, but by the end of the drama, I feel that everybody is quite happy with the performance. I want to know what your mother thinks of the performance, because she's the most important person in your life, and she's also, I would like to think, your biggest critic.
Oh, believe me. It's I think she struggled with the उनको ये बात हजम नहीं हो रही थी शुरू में, कि obviously एपिसोड 8 बजे चलता, 9 बजे ऑनलाइन आता, मैं उनको 10 बजे फोन करता अगर मैं नहीं हूं उनके साथ, कि बताएं कि कैसा लगा. She would watch it. तो she watch it and मैं पूछता, वो पहले कोई 15 एपिसोड में ना, मैं जैसे वो मुझे एज अ वेटरन इन द इंडस्ट्री एडवाइस देना चाहती, तो उनकी कोई दोस्त फोन कर लेती या कजन फोन कर लेती और वो कहती कि हाय ज़ेबा, तुम्हारा बेटा इतना बदतमीज है.
Because people take it so personally.
Exactly. And then she would take it personally कि मेरे बेटे की जो अपब्रिंगिंग है वो गलत हुई है, वो क्वेश्चन हो रही है. तो she would just not be able to process it, and instead it would be like, did you watch the episode? I was like, what do you think? She would tell me, ये scene, वो scene. I don't know, but the things that were, it was believable. That's it. That was the maximum I got.
It was believable.
That was the maximum.
It was believable. She's right.
She said it was believable. I never got good job. I'm proud of you.
ये नहीं कहा ये scene बहुत अच्छा किया, ये बेहतर हो सकता था.
Not at all.
यहाँ बड़े अच्छे लग रहे थे, ये लाइट अच्छी थी.
क्या परफॉर्मेंस थी युमना की, क्या परफॉर्मेंस थी सजल की, गजाला took over the scene so well, वो सब आया, मुझ पे नहीं आया. But not because obviously there is a part of her that wants me to improve, and I agree with that. There's obviously tons of space for that, but at the same time she also knows the field very well. So I think there is no it's such a sporadic profession कि आप एक point पे non-stop काम कर रहे होते हैं, फिर आप चले जाते हैं, फिर every time you come back वो knowledge रहती है, लेकिन you're a newcomer in it. I felt that with music very often. मुझे अगर कोई बंदा फोन करता है और वो कहता है कि अज़ान ये गाना बनाना है, believe me, till now my first reaction is गाना कैसे बनेगा, गाना कैसे
बनेगा? Really?
कैसे करेंगे? I swear, even now. And then I'm like, what if it never
I
happens again?
I wouldn't ever have imagined.
I swear to God,
Huh.
and I would not say that
I
lightly.
I know that.
Every time there is this 20-minute panic where I'm like, how do you make a song? And then I think for a little while, calm down.
Calm
and then
down. You can do it.
You can do it, and then it happens, right?
It happens.
So it's not something jahan par it's like, you just know and you go in and you just, and I assume it's going to be the same thing with this. So for instance, at this point, I'm reading some things, I'm talking about certain subjects, and मैं यही सोचता हूँ अकेले बैठ के बाद में कैसे होगा ये,
कैसे होगा,
क्या करूँगा, so I think she knows this. Right. She knows that you can be 10 years into your career, and she told me this as well. And a project can come that can almost make you feel completely new again, and you don't know what to do. So that is where I think her critique comes in, where she's not willing to just.
She keeps you grounded. Absolutely. She keeps you grounded. मेरे ख्याल है मुश्किल पोजीशन है आपकी, क्योंकि बहुत लोग इस चीज पे बात करते हैं कि जी स्टार किड्स हैव इट सो इजी और दरवाजे उनके लिए खुल जाते हैं, which is true of course. खुल भी जाते हैं, प्रोजेक्ट्स भी मिल जाते हैं. इश्क was a huge drama, and to be cast with two of Pakistan's powerhouses, Sajal and Yumna Zaidi, both in a love relationship with you. So it is kind of a dream project as a debut drama. I think on the contrary, it's tougher. दरवाजे जरूर खुलते हैं, लेकिन जो माइक्रोस्कोप के नीचे रखा जाता है वो फिर किसी आम न्यूकमर को नहीं रखा जाता, एंड तनकीद बढ़ जाती है, एक्सपेक्टेशंस बढ़ जाती हैं, क्रिटिसिज्म बढ़ जाती है कि ओ ये रोल मिला तो है लेकिन ये नहीं कर पाएंगे तो इनको इसलिए ज्यादा, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ इफ्स एंड बट्स एंड व्हाई, एंड it's actually difficult. So do you ever struggle with that? How do you deal with the whole, how do I prove myself? As a musician, you've, I think, had no problem. It's been effortless.
There was a lot said that time as well.
Huh?
There was a lot said.
Really?
The thing is, as a composer, you're behind the camera, right? हाँ. तो उस वजह से वो बातें पीछे की जाती हैं.
Right.
Comment section में नहीं की जाती.
Right.
Articles में नहीं की जाती. लेकिन सुनने को तो मिलती हैं. तो तब भी हुई थी. I believe अगर मेरे खिलाफ नेपोटिज्म का एक टैग लगा है शुरू से, तो वो उन फिल्मों पे लगना ज्यादा चाहिए था एज कम्पेयर टू इश्क, क्योंकि मैंने कभी कोई गाना नहीं बनाया था और आपने पाकिस्तान की 3 सबसे बड़ी फिल्में मुझे दी थी. मेरी काबिलियत में भी आपने सुनी हो या आपने मेरे पर्सनली गाने सुने हो, लेकिन पब्लिक का रिस्पांस तो आपने नहीं सुना था. लेकिन उस वक्त ये बात नहीं इतनी निकली थी. When I came in front of the camera, the question came up more. So I believe that from a very basic standpoint, the question should have come up then as well. क्या ये सवाल सही है कि हम लोगों को आसानियां हमारे लिए आसानियां होती हैं? बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल होती हैं. क्या उतनी ही या उससे दुगनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी होती है, लेकिन रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी भी एक हद तक होती है, क्योंकि आपको जितने ऊंचे ओहदे में शुरू में रखा जाता है या जितनी ऊंची पोजीशन में रखा जाता है, आप उस पोजीशन के अगेंस्ट अपना बाकी करियर नापते हैं और फिर आप उतने ही धाड़ से गिरते भी. आपको पहले दिन आपकी एक्टिंग एबिलिटीज या म्यूजिक एबिलिटीज वेटरन्स के साथ कंपेयर की जा रही होती. It is not wrong to say that, and you are absolutely right that my co-actors are the best among the best in the country, and I've experienced that firsthand working with them. And there is no denying that. So you're being compared to that. That's a tall expectation. It is an expectation. Yes. I would still say it's a small price to pay.
It's a small price to pay.
Because what is the worst thing that's going to happen? I'll get to work with the best actors and get to learn from them.
Right.
With one of the best directors, with one of the best producers.
Right.
Among our best writers. So that's the worst case.
Azaan, what's going to get you through all of this is your humbleness and your sweetness.
No.
You're a sweet star kid.
The thing is, it's not. It's very true, because that is what is the worst case scenario.
Right.
And somebody isn't slamming a door in my face.
Yeah.
Maybe they do tomorrow after I mess up.
No, if you don't perform, they will.
They will. Absolutely.
Nobody's going to lose money over the star kid.
And can I be honest with you? A few episodes in, 6-7 episodes in, I did get phone calls that were not very nice. I did get a lot of things that were there.
From within the industry?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And I did feel that heat for a moment. And the heat was much more than I would have gotten if I had maybe performed with actors who were newer.
Absolutely. Or if you were unknown.
Absolutely,
which is what I'm saying.
फौरन ही आप एक नया मेटल है और आपको फौरन सोने के साथ तोला जा रहा है ना कि सोने जितना वैल्यूबल है कि नहीं. And obviously not, right? You're just starting out. So it's a very, it's a tall order. I'm grateful. I believe that what I owe to my industry as well as the viewers today is performances that are very, very, very well turned out after this, because I have that experience. I don't have, and I'm saying this right here क्योंकि मेरे बारे में बड़ी बातें इन सोफों में हुई हैं. That there is.
किसने की है?
छोड़ देना, ठीक है? But I appreciate them. In the future, I believe that, and I'm saying this on record, that the day you don't see a marked improvement from me is a day you can definitely point fingers at me, because I did have a big advantage. I did get to work with tremendous people who it will be only my failing if I don't perform at that level.
Right.
And I'm aware of that. That is a responsibility. That responsibility makes you not want to constantly do everything that potentially comes your way, because you want to do good work. And that is something that is taught me.
So Azaan, kabhi socha hai ye ki theek hai, you're so young, you're 28, or actors generally learn on the job. और बहुत कम ऐसे होते हैं जिन्होंने एक्टिंग स्टडी की होती है या जिन्होंने ट्रेनिंग ली होती है. बट आपके प्लान में है कुछ कि कोई वर्कशॉप्स करनी या ट्रेनिंग करनी, या जिस तरह लोग करते हैं नापा पे शॉर्ट कोर्सेज कर लिए या बाहर से कर लिए, इवन पीपल लाइक फरहान ताहिर बाहर से, you know, ड्रामा पढ़ा हुआ और लिटरेचर. So is that on the cards as well?
Absolutely. So whenever, for instance, I get breaks, so even right now I was in England for a while, took up a course, did all that stuff.
Where better to learn, I mean.
Sure.
Absolutely.
फिर उसके अलावा when I've been here, as you might be aware, I started working behind the camera for a long time. So I AD'd along with directors to understand actors. I obviously, in that exposure beforehand as well, for instance, working with acting coaches here to try and develop characters. And those are things that obviously are part of the job, and those are obviously things I would do. But as you said as well, there is a theoretical knowledge which I will work to gain, and that is something that is obviously not just on the cards. It's what I have been doing, and I will continue to do so. But there's also a side which is that you need the hours under your belt. You know?
Of course.
Hours under your belt.
Of course.
There was someone.
Experience is invaluable.
Interestingly, you spoke about Patakhte. When Patakhte was supposed to go on to shoot pre-pandemic, us waqt, there was an actor, I'm not going to name them, they said to me, that you should do drama first. And I was, at that time, I was like, why this is happening? I'm the huge advocate of television, but because that was literally about to go. And they were like, just the fact that you'll get to do that many scenes will, because drama ends up having 700 plus scenes in it. A film in entirety has 75 scenes in it. So the hours you will get in experience will be very, very good.
Invaluable.
And they were absolutely right. I only realized that today, at the other side of it, than I did back then.
Tell me, how was your experience working with Sajal and Yumna? I mean, two fantastic, and then they have a great reputation. Okay, they're good to work with, and they're were they helpful? Were they obviously you're not going to go say no, they were terrible on set, and I never want to work with Yumna and Sajal again. Obviously, you're not going to say that. But evaluation क्या थी? Sajal as and Yumna, दोनों different individuals हैं, different actors हैं, उनकी techniques भी फर्क हैं बिल्कुल. आपके performance में उनकी क्या evaluation थी दोनों की? बहुत ज्यादा. पहला आधा सजिल के साथ आपने किया, और बड़े आपके हेवी सीन्स थे, एंड बड़े इंटीमेट सीन्स भी थे. गो के पेमरा ने कहा था कि कोई इंटीमेट सीन्स नहीं होंगे मियां बीवी के, एंड हस्बैंड्स विल नॉट बी अलाउड टू कैरेस देयर वाइव्स, बट यू डिड. You guys had a lot of intimate scenes. So as a newcomer, there you are, as a newcomer. And I mean, what did you absorb from Sajal?
So I'll go first talk about Sajal, then I'll talk about
Yumna.
Because just chronologic according to the story. I think both of them, coincidentally, मेरा जो काम शुरू हुआ था वो Yumna के साथ शुरू हुआ था.
Right.
Because it is chronologic. It wasn't chronologic, so it started with her first. And I remember both of them actually. I went to both of them and I said that you have more on the line than I do.
Yeah.
Because if I don't perform well, so firstly, A, there are a lot of people expecting me not to perform well. B, even if I do perform reasonably, there are enough people who would not want to admit it. But I don't want anybody to say that, why did you guys work with him? Right?
Right.
Or you made a mistake to work with this person. Because you have many years of experience, and I don't want to be the hole that sinks the ship.
Right.
In that sense. तो कहीं पर भी आपको लगे कि मैं कुछ गलत कर रहा हूँ, मेरी कोई ईगो नहीं है, आप मुझे आके बता दें. और लकीली उन्होंने मेरी बात सुनी और उन्होंने मुझे बताया जहां उनको लगा. और वो उन दोनों की एज एक्टर्स उनका बड़ापन ये है कि उन्होंने कहीं मुझे ये महसूस नहीं होने दिया कि वो कितने टैलेंटेड हैं, उनका कितना एक्सपीरियंस है, कितना उनको पता है. They allowed me to feel very comfortable. It was actually honestly only after either after we finished the day or during gaps where I would be like, how were they so chilled out? Like, they've probably done these things many times. So I was very grateful to them for that. And at the same time, as far as Sajal's concerned, she was, I didn't know either of them very well before the thing. It's not like we knew each other very well. She was, extremely helpful, extremely kind to me, and I'm grateful to her for that.
How difficult was the shooting scene? Was that one of the most difficult scenes? No. Not at all.
The most difficult scene was the scene where I confess to her. Because she and I both have a problem where we start laughing. And it just doesn't stop then. Like, believe me, it doesn't stop.
Kaun si wali confessional thi hai?
In the trees and all of that.
Right.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That what you felt that was the toughest?
No,
one of the toughest.
No, between us, one of the toughest scenes. I personally find the toughest scenes the ones where I have to say casual things. Like, aaj khane mein kya paka? Oh my, I just can't think. It's so confusing. When I'm like, like, and then you start thinking very dumb things. कि मैं अपने हाथों से क्या करूँ? मतलब मैं normal life में कहाँ रखता हूँ हाथ जब मैं बोलता हूँ खाने में क्या पका है? And then it was this, and then you start thinking about everything. You're thinking about, and then it just doesn't stop. But no, she and I have a laughing problem, severe laughing problem, and it became very, very, very. वो एक point आया था जहाँ हम, at least मैं खुद से कहता था कि तुम हंसते क्यों हो? मतलब ये तुम्हें है क्यों ये quality हंसने की? क्योंकि वो इतना embarrassing हो जाता था कि जी सब इंतजार कर रहे हैं और ये हंस रहे हैं. ये बस नहीं, वो कोई चीज आ गई ना, मिल गई कि ये बात है, अब ये फनी है. अब वो बहुत stupid बात होगी. फनी क्या थी बात? मतलब कुछ भी. मैं कोई अमूमन गलती मेरी होती थी, obviously, और मैंने ये भी बड़ी गलती की थी, मुझे लगा था कुछ बार के, because again it's her experience and I felt this with both of them. कि मुझे लगा कि वो तो कैजुअली चाय पी रही है, अभी तो तैयारी नहीं है सीन के लिए, कोई बात नहीं, मैं भी अपना टाइम लगा लूंगा. और फिर वो सीन आया, उनको सब याद, सब ब्लॉकिंग पता, सब कुछ याद, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता. तो then I was like नहीं ये, so then I would like memorize everything and know everything when I would come. But that's again their graciousness. At the same time, हंसने की जो बात थी, वो for instance मैंने कोई लाइन बोलते बोलते फंबल कर दिया. अब वो अटक गया हम दोनों के जहन में. अब वो जब भी वो लाइन आए, क्योंकि आप कई एंगल से करते हैं, कई मर्तबा वही सीन किया जाता है. So whenever that line would be coming, I would start panicking. And then I would see her and she would know I'm panicking. And then this whole ball of anxiety would start being created. And obviously, like, you're also being watched by like 20 people on the screen, right? So now they know that you are getting conscious of this line. And then it just doesn't stop, right? This is endless.
Well, it sounds like a fun set to be on.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And I'm very grateful that my first set was like that. So it was a lot of fun.
Lekin gymming kaam aayi when you actually carried her and ran across.
She is so petite and small. If it was somebody else, it would have been harder. But no, it was pretty.
It was a breeze. It was a breeze.
Luckily, the transformation happened well before that. So I was used to a gym.
You were used to gymming. And then the second half, coming to you, which you said you shot before.
Some parts.
But वो काफी antagonistic और काफी abrasive scenes, और वो they're completely different equation and a completely different character. And Yumna is a different actor. तो उनके साथ क्या experience था?
It was a lot of fun. Initially, because she's somebody who I found stays in her character a bit.
Right.
तो मैंने शुरू में दोस्ती थोड़ी करने की कोशिश की कि अस्सलाम वालेकुम, how are you?
आपने कहा ये तो अस्का है, ये Yumna नहीं है.
I remember the first day where I was meeting everybody and अस्सलाम वालेकुम, Azaan, all of that. I went with अस्सलाम वालेकुम. That's it. No, that's it. How are you? What's happening? Left. And I'm like,
that's kind of a brush off.
Yeah, proper. And I was like, मैंने क्या किया? What's is something wrong? But luckily, then that, as things, we went, it got okay. But I guess that was her process, and she wasn't being mean to me at all.
No, she's probably a much method actor who stays.
Possibly, yeah. Otherwise, she's the sweetest. but
And
initially
उसका तो आज आके आखिरी एपिसोड में जाके कहीं सॉफ्टनेस दोनों की रिलेशनशिप में बनी है और बड़े लोगों ने कहा कि यार अब इसके बाद भी wanted a couple more episodes और एकदम ही खत्म कर दिया just when we were getting to enjoy their relationship but yeah, but it sounds like a fun set and it sounds like a very enriching process and experience.
Like, the thing is, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I got to work with Nadeem Saab.
Absolutely.
I got to work with Ghazala Abba.
Ji, bilkul.
I still, when I see, some people made edits of Nadeem Saab and my scene together, and just to share the frame with him, I think it's a lifelong, fortune for me to be able to have done.
Absolutely. So, what happened to Patakte? अब आपने ड्रामा कर लिया?
I actually don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Wasn't it your film?
No, absolutely. I think pandemic happened.
Right.
And then, as you know, the cinema industry is dealing with its own fair share of recovery things.
Bilkul.
So, it's a beautiful script.
Right.
A fun script.
Right.
Shiraz Upal Saab has done the music for it.
ठीक है.
Fantastic
You're
music.
Playing a bodybuilder in the film?
I'm playing a Pehlwan.
A Pehlwan.
Like a fighter.
Okay.
A fighter.
Okay.
And don't even get into the jokes that were cracked.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
There are a lot of jokes because I had to predominantly shoot quite like the second half in the red underwear. Most of the,
कोई हुई थी filming हुई थी?
नहीं लेकिन उसकी जब costume design का budget उसका second half में
वो तो budget ही नहीं होगा
बहुत कम था तो उसमें बहुत लोगों के आइडियाज भी आए थे कि जी सीक्वेंस होने चाहिए उस पे क्योंकि अगर एक ही चीज है तो सारा उसमें
oh my god
but
sequined red underwear sounds like really
guys, comment section please talk about if I was in a red sequined underwear how would you guys feel about it I wouldn't feel very good about it but anything for you guys but the thing is that so I don't know
you don't know what's happening there.
I'd love for it to be made. I think it's Safi sir is
directing it.
Mustafa Bhai has written it, Mustafa Fidi Saab.
And Hani Amir is
supposed to be in it, absolutely. So whenever it does happen, it'll be fun. If it happens, I look forward to it.
But you are reading scripts. Ishq Ila ke baad, abhi you've not signed on to anything, or have you? बता ही दो आज big reveal in something hot discussions चल रही हैं so what is your defining sort of what is your priority right now कैसा ड्रामा करना है discussions अगर चल रही हैं तो आप किस चीज को prioritize कर रहे हो किस चीज को sideline कर रहे हो what is the thought process and guys we need to remember you're just 28 so ऐसा नहीं है कि you've got it all sorted
absolutely of course I think उस बात को भी मैं बहुत ज़हन में रखता हूँ कि I want to so one thing that definitely is there is that I want to try doing different characters that are not like this. Would I like to do a character like this again? Definitely. I think बहुत सारे इस तरह के characters और हैं जो हम explore कर सकते हैं. लेकिन मुझे ये इस तरह का character दोबारा करने में I want to have a break from it.
Of course.
Try to revisit it in a new way. And secondly, I want to just play. I came to entertainment from a place of entertainment, right? So for me, it's very strange to say this because I come from a media household, conventionally a media household. I don't watch stuff with that place. Like if someone says, "Was the film good or bad?" I don't know. I don't know. Like either I like the film.
Yeah, but an easier question is, did you enjoy the film or not? Right?
So, for instance, I still watch. Like Top Gun came out right now. 100% I will watch Top Gun like I was 10 years old, seeing jahaz ho raha hai. Like this is that thing. One of the reasons I'll watch a romantic film, and if I fell in love in the film with the characters, I like it. But then when later someone sits as the critic and says, the narrative was this, and that, I don't know.
मुझे तो मजा आया.
Exactly, right?
So इश्क इला मजा आया आपको?
मुझे मजा
आया.
मुझे मजा आया. Absolutely. The thing is that so when I look at things, I'm like, okay, अभी हमने इश्क इला के through काफी रुलाया लोगों को. मैंने बहुत रोया, आप सबने देखा होगा मुझे काफी रोते हुए.
जी आपने देखा.
काफी ज़्यादा.
आपने hallucinate भी काफी किया.
जी. So now my thing is I want to either make people fall in love or I want to make them laugh and have a good time. So with that mindset, I'm like, okay, I want to do something like that. It's not from a career में ये सही move होगा करने में. It's not that. So either I'm trying to see stuff that is it's romantic, it makes you fall in love, not necessarily as serious and dark. I also want to keep the darkness threshold a bit low right now and ceiling. Or something that makes you have a good time.
Makes you have a good time. It's surprising you're using the word dark, Azaan, because if I go a bit into your personal life, it's been turbulent. May I use that word?
Sure.
It has, right? Star parents and a very public divorce back in the 90s that the entire country and maybe even half the world followed. जो लोग देख रहे थे television, Pakistani films जो देखते थे उस वक्त में. You yourself got married at such a young age. 20? 19. 19 पे आपकी अपनी शादी हुई and then आपकी अपनी divorce and you have 2 young children. It couldn't have been easy. And then of course the entire rhetoric around your dad and the kind of sentiments that people have against him in Pakistan. And so all of that coming together makes for a very turbulent personal life.
Sure.
And yet you're so calm and you're smiling and you're so, you talk about romance and you talk about love and you talk about happiness and giggle fits on the set. What keeps you grounded? And I mean, how does one come up with the Azaan Sami Khan after all this turbulence? How did it affect you?
I think you learn to compartmentalize. You learn to value time much better. Yes, it is true that because of, my parents, they had a very public divorce.
Yes.
On a national level.
Bilkul.
I grew up having to know things like courts very young. Knowing I come from a legal family, so knowing the judicial system very well, custody laws very well, things which a normal 10, 12, 15-year-old probably doesn't know much about, going to those places. So, honestly speaking, there were ups and downs. There were dark moments, but as they say, you only value the light when you have had the dark, right? So you end up not just living, you end up living in the moment where you're like, I'm having a good time, I'm not going to think about other things too much. So as far as that is concerned, I think, honestly speaking, I was raised by a tremendous woman. And a day doesn't go by where I don't gain further respect for her, for, positions she took in her life, which, honestly speaking, she was Raj Kapoor Saab's last heroine.
Absolutely.
To have a kid 1 year after that is itself, it's just the decision itself. I don't know too many actresses who today in 2022 will choose to have a kid and put a big break on their career at the peak of their career. There are those who've done it, but it is still a tremendous sacrifice. When in the 90s, everyone would have told you, and I know they did. Aaj bhi I hear regressive stories being told to women specifically that जब माँ बन जाती है तो फिर वो heroine नहीं रहती. Nonsense of that level, right? I myself have heard stuff like that being said. So when I see that what it would have taken her to make a decision then, that's courage. That's courage, that is having your values very clearly set out, that, I want to have a kid, that is very clear to me. So firstly, I was raised by a tremendous woman. And I think she allowed me to very clearly define what's right, what's wrong. And I think that's the first side of it. Then God blessed me with kids at a young age. And today, them and my mom collectively end up becoming this severely heavy moral compass in life, right?
So you have 2 kids, just for public knowledge, and Ibrahim turns
8 tomorrow.
Which is today.
Which is today.
When
Watching.
Right. And inshallah. Lily is the younger one.
She's 6 years old.
She's 6 years old. And they live with their mother.
They live with so we co-parent them.
Okay.
So they're with her during school days. They're with me. Otherwise, they live in England.
They live in England.
And I'm back and forth. So if anybody on social media sees that I'm there very often.
Right.
But yeah, we co-parent. She's a tremendous mom. And alhamdulillah, I think because of my experiences, I met my father after the age of 4. I met him when I was 14. I didn't see him for 10 years.
Right.
There were tremendous legal battles and etc. during my, early years. So I was very clear that if things don't work in a marriage, I would never want them to ever go through that.
Right.
And that's probably why I made certain decisions at a timely manner, where, alhamdulillah, today everything is peaceful and things happen in a manner. And today we can make constructive conversations, be the forefront of our lives instead of like, if I go to court tomorrow, where will I land up? I grew up with those thoughts. I would have conversations that my family would have with me saying, tomorrow is a session where you might end up living, it was fairly unstable. So because of that, I think my mother, my kids have allowed me to be whoever I am today, good or bad. And I think that they push me to be the person I am more than anything else. And I'm grateful for that. I think, as I said, dark times allow you to value the good times.
Right.
And most importantly, I would genuinely say Allah has been tremendously kind to me.
Right. No, it's great. It shows actually in the way you are and the way you hold yourself. I think people like you are very important to the industry.
Thank you.
और nepotism की बात ठीक है अपनी जगह पे, जो लोग struggle करते हैं और उनको नहीं मौका मिलता, वो अगर bitter होते हैं तो जायज़ है वो भी एक हद तक, ये दरवाजे उनके लिए नहीं खुलते. But on the other side, I think you've had a rough time as well. It hasn't been easy, and I'm happy to see young men like you coming into the industry who come with a certain kind of maturity and a respect for the profession and respect for other people and all that.
As I said, it's something that I had to accept early on was that the way a kid that goes into, that goes to college and is doing the undergrad and he gets to choose 16 courses of various different subjects and experiment with them and try to figure them out. And then chooses his major in the second or third year, and then decides what he has to do. In my case, the environment I grew up in, for me to do and figure out what I want to do ends up just being a little more exposed.
Right.
So if I want to tomorrow screenwrite, and if that script gets greenlit and someone makes it, you'll know about it.
Bilkul.
As compared to if I just, do you get what I'm saying? So it's
Absolutely.
So I accepted that a while ago. Hence, I don't think about that too much. Am I somebody जो एक relentless train पे चलता रहेगा कि नहीं लोगों को मैं बुरा लग रहा हूँ कोई चीज करते हुए मैं तब भी करता रहूँगा लगे रहोगा नहीं मैं उस तरह का नहीं हूँ. I don't take things personally. I don't so it doesn't.
Before we move on, एक सवाल मेरे दिमाग में फंसा हुआ है क्योंकि I know Zeba as well and I know that she loves you like to bits, of course, but I also know she's strict. उन्होंने रोका नहीं आपको 19 साल पे शादी करने पे? मतलब मैं जब सोचती हूँ कि my elder kid is 23, मैं सोच नहीं सकती कि मैं उसको green signal दूँ शादी के लिए भी. आपको रोका नहीं था 19 साल पे?
देखिए, she's other than my own parents, I come from a fairly conservative Pathan family, right? So it was, I think she spoke to my uncles who are her elder brothers, and they said कि अगर शादी करना चाह रहे शादी एक जायज चीज है और इसमें कोई गलत बात नहीं है. इससे बेहतर तो नहीं, ऐसे तो नहीं ना कि कोई लंबी
गुनाह की जिंदगी में रहे.
Exactly. तो देर लगी कोई गलत बात नहीं है, as long as he knows what the responsibility of it is. And that was obviously, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then when you get into it, then you realize that. But I don't. She did say, she sat me down and she did say to me, okay, whatever you do now, it will not just affect you, but potentially, because obviously we didn't have kids for a while after that, it'll affect several people. So I think it was a masterclass in responsibility, masterclass in growing up. But she's somebody who has always delved and pushed me to कि अच्छा जिद आई हुई है ना, हम सब जिद्दी हैं, ये करना है ना, अच्छा जी सबसे गहरे में जाओ और फिर तैर के निकलो बाहर. मतलब I think that's probably because I did go and speak to her about Ishq. I said ये करना चाहिए. She said co-actress कौन है तुम्हारे? I told her. She said अच्छा बिल्कुल करो. ठीक है. And then that time I was like, मुझे बताया क्यों नहीं आपने? Because in my head I was like, okay, there I'll also go. I had no idea. So I think she has always pushed me to take on challenges. I now today love challenges. I get a thrill from them. So even when going into Ishq, I was like, don't drown. You're going in the depth of the ocean. Don't drown.
You didn't drown.
So luckily
Alhamdulillah, you didn't drown. Absolutely. You've come out swimming and you're swimming towards other scripts as well, which you will not reveal.
As I said, it's not my place to right now until they tell me, and I'll be the first person with the trumpet announcing it. Like don't, I'm bad with secrets. But I just, as I said, I want the characters to evoke some emotion, whether it's fun, happiness, love. Secondly, being a son and being a father, I just cannot. For me, the moral compass of my character is very important.
It is
100%. So Azlan, for instance, I'm proud of.
I'm sorry, मैं आपकी बात काटी है. I'm very happy you're saying that, because there are a lot of morally dubious characters.
So that's the thing. When Azlan came in, one of the first things that Momana Bhabi said to me was, this is his journey of discovering God. Something I've gone through, something I know a lot of people go through. And that rung right. And somebody who we knew that would not be necessarily likable for a long time. That attracted me. Even though I would say Azlan isn't necessarily a debutante's dream character, as a character. Obviously not as a project.
No, I understand.
But as a character. Where it's like, oh, so nobody's gonna like me for like 20 episodes. Yeah. You know? So it's like, that's what I want to do. So that wasn't, but I agreed with what he stood for and what his character represented. So for me, that's important. I'm not here to do roles to become famous. If the role makes you famous over time, that is God's grace and that is the audience's love. But, you know, when someone says, which a lot of people, and I've gotten this, इस तरह character करो कि चलता बहुत है. जी drugs भी बहुत चलते हैं. बहुत चलते हैं drugs. लेकिन इसका ये मतलब नहीं करने चाहिए. And similarly, for me, that is important in characters. That tomorrow my mother's going to see it. My mother and my father have dedicated their lives in this profession. Will I be holding the mantle and torch in a respectable manner? I have a daughter. Will a guy like this, if he ever appeared in my life, would you approve of him? Would I approve of him?
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
So then those characters are just a no-go for me. I would rather play a villain entirely, who is a bad guy.
Glamorized नहीं होते हैं ना, कम से कम you know he's bad.
But I don't want to play a character that makes people question that. But it's, you know,
stalk कर रहा है तो अच्छा लग रहा है stalk करता हुआ, या अगर abusive है तो अच्छा लग रहा है abusive होता हुआ, तो views मिल रहे हैं, because ये हो रहा है बहुत कुछ.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, today compared to before, I believe there are very many ways to become famous.
Right.
If you want to be famous.
Right.
That is not my ultimate criteria in life. It is to do good work. If the byproduct of that is for people to know who you are, that is great. And people to love you, but not किसको करने के लिए ये सब करना चाहिए. That's not what I.
That's not. So who is Azaan Sami Khan offset? Because हम नहीं देखते आपको. Instagram आपका बड़ा एक private सा है. और you're not very active on social media. आप अपने 20 पोज नहीं लगाते रोज. आप नहीं लगाते कि आप नाश्ते में क्या करते हैं या आप खाने में क्या खाते हैं.
सब बोर हो जाएंगे अगर
या आप जिमिंग क्या कहाँ करते हैं, वो आप नहीं लगाते. Although now we'd like to see you in that red sequined underwear, but
I'm going to read all the comments.
But आप नहीं लगाते तस्वीरें, and we don't see you at parties. We don't see your pictures. You're not really a social animal, as they say at this age. Almost everybody is. So who are you? Who are your friends?
Well, luckily I have some good friends.
Are you friends with Sajal and Yumna now? Or is that a professional relationship that you cherish?
I think there's a mutual respect.
I hope end पे Yumna ने आपको cold shoulder नहीं दिया जब खुदाफिज कर रहे थे तो.
They're both very kind. I would say they're my friends. I care about both of them deeply. And they've both been great with me. So I'd love to work with them in the future if they'd want to work with me. But no, absolutely. I would call them friends. At the same time, regarding the socially...
who are you?
You know, not being a social animal. Honestly, I want to be known for the work I do. That's it. Like, that's it. I'm not feeding, I'm not saying anybody else is. I'm talking about myself right now.
That's a very mature thing to say.
Pointing fingers at anybody.
No, I understand.
But my validation comes from how good I am at the job I do. I don't get validated by who my friend is. I want my friend to be a good person. That's pretty much it. Therefore, I don't see the need. I eat the same breakfast every day. Any of you who's been on a consistent diet for a long time knows you end up doing the same thing every day.
You're still on a diet.
I have
maintenance.
To be on a plan.
You have to be.
I have to be on a plan, right? Not because that is the only way to lose weight. I'm not a healthcare professional to be giving anybody advice. It works for me because I have what you would call an addictive personality. So it's very easy for me to get addicted to eating stuff that's not good for me very quickly. So if someone says to me कि आज एक बाइट डोनट का खा लो, क्या होता है? मुझे पता है कुछ नहीं होता, लेकिन फिर मैं आज बोलूंगा कि आज तो वेंसडे है, डाइट तो मंडे को शुरू होती है, फिर मंडे को मैं बोलूंगा कि लेकिन आज पहली तो नहीं है, आज पहली तो नहीं है, आज तो 22 तारीख है, तो हम पहली से शुरू करेंगे, और फिर ऐसे करते करते 3 महीने गुजर जाएंगे।
मैं समझती हूँ, मेरे साथ ये हर महीने होता है।
So because of that, it's like no.
Yeah.
I will plan a cheat day for myself. Other ways of, I know people who manage it much better than I do.
Right.
This works for me, and that's why I do.
And you lost how much weight?
My first go, I lost about 60 kg. Then went back up because I was trying to build muscle because I was very lanky. And then I went up from there. Then I gained some COVID weight. Then I dropped back to where I am now. So it's just,
so weight is a struggle.
Absolutely.
As it is for most people who have ever been overweight. It's endless.
It's endless because एक तो होता है ना कि हम खाने के बहुत शौकीन लोग, मुझे इसमें कोई मसला नहीं कहते, मतलब I've quoted this many times. Like if I'm shooting or anything, if I'm in other meeting sitting and I know कि अगले कमरे में निहारी है कुछ पड़ेगा ना, मतलब my attention is just there. You can be telling me, Azaan, you've won $1 million, and I'm like, कब खत्म होगा, मैं वहाँ जाऊँ, you know, because that's all. So big foodies, and so now I've like tamed that. So by taming it, I'm like, okay, मेरे लिए चलता है. I rather eat the same thing every day. So come back to the social side of things. I don't post online because it's to be able to maintain whatever reasonable healthy physical status. You have to, in my case, have to be fairly monotonous, and it's not, it will bore people to death. Same thing goes with the gym. You know, gym is cool 3 days. When I reach some sort of physique goal, I will post it, and that's it. But as I said, I try to also be aware that, you know, honestly, I found myself posting pictures that I thought looked good on my lowest days. I always found that. When I would feel down, I'd feel like, I mean, आज post नहीं किया, चलो कुछ post करता हूँ. And I realized that because I felt bad about me, I needed somebody else to come and say something good about me. So now I just try and stop myself from doing that.
And that's dangerous.
And I feel a lot of people do that.
That's dangerous.
It's dangerous. Yeah. Because then you're constantly, it's like, okay, like what makes a person take a selfie from the top of a cliff and then
totally.
It's an endless cycle.
It's also you're seeking approval from people who don't know you, who you don't know.
Absolutely. And as I said, I'm pretty clear that I want to be known for the work I do. I have tremendous love for people who positively critique me, who show me love, and I'm there. Like, you know, for instance, people who I have regular Zoom calls with fan pages and stuff like that. It's not like I don't care and I'm not interacting. I would rather have a personal relationship with them. Right. But and I'm a bit introverted, so like in this setting I'm fine. But I am the guy who 20 लोग होंगे तो I'll be texting a friend of mine saying, what do I do?
मुझे निकालो यहाँ से.
No, what do I do? What do I say? मैं हाथों में क्या, you know? It's like it just starts kicking in a lot. I want to be better at it, but that is why. But Azaan, I guess Azaan is, I'm this. This is how I am.
This is who you are.
This is who I am. I think it's better to act when you're playing a character. You know.
अच्छा है. Yeah. No, I think I like who you are. So that's good. That's good, and I hope that you go from strength to strength.
Thank you.
I hope that your music keeps flourishing because I still think that is your strongest suit.
Thank you.
You've made some tremendous music, and I hope that your acting continues to improve. Because अभी शुरू हुआ है काम, और आप जैसे आपने कहा इन सोफों में बहुत बातें हुई, हमने की आपकी काफी स्ट्रिक्ट क्रिटिक की शुरू में, और उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं कन्विंसिंग परफॉर्मेंस, और मैं जब अब ड्रामा खत्म हो रहा है तो मुझे अभी एहसास है कि अब जो अज़लान है that is a character you're more comfortable with as opposed to वो वाला अज़लान जो abrasive था और जिसने खाने में से बाल निकाल के कहा और उस लड़की को बेचारी को रुलाया ये वो. So maybe पहला project है ये वो, but I have no doubt that you'll go far.
Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. Thank you so much.
And I hope you bring that pride to your mother because you know आप उनकी आंख का तारा हैं. Absolutely, you know.
लगता तो नहीं क्योंकि जब वो मेरे साथ होती हैं तो it's a bit of a strict situation.
नहीं, but we know. And good luck, Azaan. I mean, I'm looking forward to your next project.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
also looking forward to the next music you make. उसके बारे में तो कुछ बता दें. म्यूजिक की दुनिया में क्या हो रहा है? आपने एल्बम निकाली, आपने फिल्मों के गाने बनाए, और अब आप क्या?
Thinking about the next album.
Thinking about the next album.
I'm thinking about the next album. Something that does excite me. Again, I'm going to use your platform to say this. In the comment section, I want to hear people say. I see that everyone in the world, like if you see a trend in the West particularly, that they're delving back into the 80s and 90s, basically their golden eras of music, and bringing that to the forefront. I'm very interested in maybe going to our golden era and, you know, going to the 60s and 50s and 70s, with South Asian music, and seeing what if we made music that it's nostalgic that way, independently. So that is very exciting me a lot. Maybe I'm just listening to a lot of old stuff these days, but I just think that they were very intelligently, they've not remade music, but through the sonics of the music, through the songwriting, through how they've phrased everything, it's very reminiscent of that time. So I feel that there's something to be said about that.
Right.
It's classic for a reason.
Right.
So I do want to maybe go back into that. Whether I do that in the next album, whether I do that in a film or something, I don't know.
Right.
With Ik Lamha, I don't know if you've seen Ik Lamha, but that was me looking at Karachi back in the day, and I had so much fun doing it. So I really want to. I know I love period projects. My Netflix algorithm is pretty much all, you know, historicals.
Right, nice.
So, and I think we're very lucky कि हमारे यहाँ बहुत कम हुआ है, you know, बहुत ही कम हुआ है historical content. So, in some way or form, like I want to, you know, wear talwar, shalwar and all of that and do something.
Your dad is in India. Do you ever see yourself branching out to make music for Indian productions?
I want to work with good artists.
You want to work with good. Yeah, that's the way to go. That's the way to go.
Whether that's in India, whether that's anywhere.
बिल्कुल सही है.
I think that's whether if I'm composing or singing, I would love to work with good directors. It's a very different high, honestly. Like working with a good director from anywhere in the world is I can't explain to you. पहले तो सबसे पहली बात तो वो एक शादी होती है और वो एक बड़ी मुश्किल शादी होती है जिसमें उस बच्चे को दुनिया के सामने पेश करना होता है. So you know very well that what you're working on right now is not just के आपके ड्राइंग रूम में उस बच्चे को जज किया जाएगा, पूरी दुनिया जज करेगी. So for me that's a thrill. Now whether that's as an actor and director, or whether that's me being a composer and a director, that's what excites me. So in my head I'm like script and then director. You know, that's the only thing that comes in. And obviously, you know, Sone Pe Suhaga if the actors are who they are. Zabardast.
We'll be on the lookout for your next projects.
Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for taking out time. और आज लोगों ने इश्क की आखिरी किस्म देखी ली होगी, which I can kind of predict कि obviously इस तलाकनामा में साइन नहीं हुआ होगा. We know, but I'm going to go watch it now. So I will get back to you with feedback on the last episode. And thank you once again.
Thank you so much. Thank you.